Hey guys, welcome to Build No Code Hassle. I'm Soham, and in this lesson, we are going to build a no code chat application in just 3 days. So, my original plan was to incorporate this chat module in my upcoming course that is building a no code chat community application. But then I was like, screw it. Let's make a free video about it so that you guys can integrate this chat module in your own application. And it can be anything. It can be a CRM, it can be a help desk, or it can be a real estate or property management software, something like Airbnb. For those who haven't used Airbnb, it does has a chat functionality, so it can be anything. So you can use this whole series to create your own chat application inside of your bubble application. So without wasting any time, let's get into it. And before we deep dive in, if you really want to build your own community application, just join the waitlist in order to get pre-sales offer. All right, so let's see what we are going to cover in this lesson. So I divided this whole lesson in three parts. So in day one, that is in this lesson, we are going to build a majority stuff of our application that is going to cover the authentication, login, sign up, onboarding, as well as the dashboard page. All right. And in day two, we are going to design and set up the chat window, wherein it's also going to have a group chat functionality as well. And in day three is going to be pretty simple because we are going to make our whole app mobile responsive. All right. So let's jump in and let's see what design do we have. So just a brief project overview. So we are going to create a software called as Blip. Now Blip is a leading online platform that connects tech enthusiasts, developers, and industry experts through dynamic chat community. And these are the two profiles that we're going to use, but we're going to use a lot of profiles. All right. And I'm going to show you the sign up flow. All right. So sign up is basically when Alex over here, he is not yet part of Blip. All right. So he's going to click on sign up. He's going to create his new account, and the moment he creates his new account, he's going to be directed to onboarding page, wherein we are going to capture his like more details about him, like his profile picture, what are his interests, what I mean description about him. And once we capture that data, we are going to send him to our dashboard page, wherein he can see all members, he can see all his connections, and he can chat with his connections as well. Now the login flow is pretty similar. The only difference is we don't have the onboarding because we have already onboarded this person. All right, so it's going to be pretty simple. Now let's see. So before we start designing, so these are going to be our color palette, and these are the button style that we're going to use. This is the primary button, secondary, and then the outline. And this is how the overall user interface of our application is going to look like. So I wanted to open a new window, sign up, and you don't need a paid account for this. You can use the free version of Bubble. All right. So I already signed up. So this is how your view should look like if you're new to Bubble. So click on create an app. Let's call this as Blip, and let's get started. Let's start with basic features. As I mentioned, we don't need paid feature for this. We are not going to use APIs and stuff. We are okay with this. Click on next step. The app font is going to be Inter. Next step. Now let's set up the color palette. Of course, we do need to set few more things, but we're going to do it in some time. So let's first set up our primary color, which is going to be 615EF1. So let's copy this and let's paste this over here. What else do we have? We have primary text, which is triple one. So let's go over here, change the font color to 6 times 1. And as of now, we are good to go with this. Let's click on next step. Uh, we are going to install a few plugins, but as of now, let's just get to start building. So I'm going to click on the styles, click on style variables, and let's add a few new colors to our color palette. So the next one is going to be secondary text color. This is going to be dark green. And the color code is going to be A0, A0, A0. Let's paste this. Let's add one more color variable, which is going to be border, and description is going to be light gray. And this one is going to be EB, EB, EB. Let's go ahead. There we go. After this, let's click on element style and let's style a few things. So over here, I'm going to search for button. Uh, let's get rid of flat button for time being. We don't need flat button. Let's click on primary button. Font size is going to be 14. Background color is going to be our prime. Okay, it looks like we were not able to save our primary color. So I'm just going to do it again. There we go. Now it's reflecting. Roundness is going to be 6. No need of shadow style. And condition, let's remove this. Our condition, I mean, if you want, you can use this, but I'm not going to use it. Let's create another style. This is going to be secondary button. Element style is going to be button over here. Let's create this. And let's see how the user interface of this button is. All right. So the background color is the same as our primary color with an opacity of 10, and the font color is our primary color. So let's go ahead, change the font color to our primary color. Background color is going to be our primary color with 10% of opacity. Looks good. For the outline button, we just have a white background and a border of our border color and a black font color. So let's click on this. Font color is going to be our text color and the border color is going to be our border color. There we go. Roundness is going to be 6. Let's do this for the secondary as well. All right. And we're done with our buttons. Now let's style input field, which is going to be our standard input. Hover is fine. Let's remove the focus. Let's keep this for the valid. In layout, left and right is going to be 12. And in appearance, roundness is going to be 6. And border color is going to be our border color. Perfect. Looks good. Let's do the same for our multi-line input. Roundness is going to be 6. Border color is going to be our border color. In the layout, left and right padding is going to be 12. In condition, let's get rid of focused condition. And let's also get rid of hovered. Same for the input. What else do we have? We have drop down as well. Standard drop down. Let's get rid of these two. In the layout, left and right is going to be 12. Click on appearance. Roundness is going to be 6. Border color is going to be our border color. What else do we have? Let's go with our picture uploader as well. Roundness is going to be 100. Border color is going to be our border color. Let's get rid of these two conditions as well. All right. Looks good. I mean, we can make the changes later on. All right. So let's see. You can access the Notion doc in the description. All right. In this Notion doc, I have mentioned everything, all the option sets, all the data types, all the steps that we're going to cover. All right. So let's scroll down and let's see. So we already styled elements. Now it's time to set up our database. So this is the database that we're going to create. So the first thing we're going to create is going to be option set. Now, for those who are new to Bubble, option set is basically used to create static data. So, for example, if I'm creating a task application, so in the task application form, we have a field or a drop down field called as task status, which is going to be open, in progress, close. Now, this field is going to be consistent. So over here, we're going to use option set. So I want to head over to data, click on data types. Before we create data types and just get rid of this privacy rules, we're going to set it up later. All right, so click on option sets, skip the tutorial, and let's start setting up our database. So the first thing we're going to create is going to be interest. So let's go ahead and create a new option set interest, and let's copy paste all these values one by one. I know it's going to take some time, but yeah. I mean, if you want, you can just go ahead with like two or three. Use five max to max, but I'm gonna use most of them. Music. I'm gonna just copy pasting, guys. Won't take much time. Foodie. What else do we have? Reading and art. The second option set is status, which is basically you'll get to know everything in a while. So let's just copy paste this. Accept, and we have reject. And the third option set is chat type. So we are going to have two types of chat, private chat and a group chat. So that's why you're using option set. I mean, we could have easily hard coded this in our workflows, but you know, now it's time to create data types. Now, before we create fields in our data types, let's create all the data types. So we already have user data type over here. Let's create connection request. Then we have message over here, message and chat. All right. Lastly, we have chat. So let's first start with user. Let's scroll up. Let's create name. Make sure you are on user. Name is going to be text. Username is again going to be a text field. I mentioned all the field types as well in the Notion doc, so it's going to be easy for you guys to create this. Avatar is going to be image. This is basically the profile photo. About me, again, text. What else? Interest. This is going to be our option set. So from the drop down, select our option set interest, create. Oh, one more thing. This is going to be a list of interests. So let's delete this one. Again, let's do this interest. And a user can have multiple interests, right? So for this, we're going to use check this box. That is, this field is going to have list of interest. So let's create that. What else? We have my connection, which is again list of users over here. You're going to select users, check this box. Chats joined, list of chats. Chat, and check this box. Chatting with, again list of users. Then we have connection request sent, which is list of connection request. And we have connection request received. This is something like sending a follow request in Instagram or connecting with someone on LinkedIn. Again, this is again going to be a list of connection request. There we go. Now let's work for connection request data type. So we have from user, which is going to be just a user and not a list of users. There we go. Then we have to user to whom we are going to send the connection request. Again, it's going to be a user. And lastly, we have status, which is our option set. Now let's work for message data type. So we have message content. which is going to be a text field. Then we have chat. In order to identify this message belongs to which chat. Sender, who is the sender of this message. And and there's no need of timestamp, honestly speaking. We already have created date. We also had a field called as creator. This is a default field that Bubble creates, but I have been using my own field for every record. Alright, so if, like I mentioned, if I'm creating a task management applications for a task, even though I have a creator field, I'm still going to go ahead and create my own ticket owner field, which is going to be a user field. It's just the way I work. Alright, it depends on you, but I prefer to use the my own field. My bad. And lastly, we have chat data type. So first thing is going to be message, which is list of message. Then we have chat users. Again, these are going to be list of users because a chat can have multiple people. And chat type, which is our option set. And lastly, we have group chat name, which is a text field. All right. So let's see. So we are done with our setting up database. Now let's start designing. This is the fun part. So head back to design. We are going to use our index page as the sign up page. So over here, let's change this. Page title is going to be sign up. And over here, it's going to be blip. Click on layout. Container layout is going to be column. Width is going to be 1440. We are following bootstrap method. Min height is going to be 800. Looks good. Instead of container layout setting as column, let's make this as 0, because if we check our design, we are stacking the elements beside each other. Alright, so the container layout should be row. So let's go ahead and let's drop a group. This is going to be group left, min width 0, min height 0, and change vertical alignment to be vertical stretch. As of now, let's make max width as 50%. Alright, I'm just going to copy this. So right click, copy, or you can click over here, click on edit, copy. Do not use your keyboard shortcuts. Click on the page, right click, paste. Now this one is going to be group right. Alright. So let's get rid of min width from both of these groups. There we go. Now, what the hell? You know, let's make it 50% for time being, and later on we can like change it. Alright. So in group left, we have two text fields, and we have three input fields and a button and then a link element. Alright, so let's go ahead and work on this. Let's drop a text field. This one is going to be join the conversation. Font size is 24 bold. Copy and paste this. Let's make this 24. Let's make this bold. Click on layout and check fit width to content. I'm just going to copy this and paste this over here. You can use the shortcut keys for text and images for like small elements, but when you are copy pasting a huge group, don't use the shortcuts. All right. The subtext is create your blip account. This is going to be 14. Let's make this medium and let's change font color to our secondary color, secondary text color. Let's drop input field. Let's call this as input name. It's going to be John Doe. Click on layout and check fix width, min width 0. Height is going to be 40. Let's copy this, select the group left, paste it. Let's call this as input email. Content type, content format is going to be email. Now I use placeholders for better user experience. You guys should also implement this in your design. And lastly, we have the password. Again, copy, select group left, paste. And let's call this input password. Placeholder over here is going to be, if you're using Mac, is going to be option and press 8 along with it. But if you're a Window user, then it's Alt 8, if I'm not wrong. Content format is going to be password. Now let's drop a button, which is going to be this one. Sign up with us. Let's call this sign up. Click on layout and check this. Min width 0, min height 40. And lastly, we have already have an account to login. Now this is going to be a link element instead of a text element. You can use link element for better SEO. Just keep that in mind. Click on layout. Let's uncheck this. Min height is going to be 0. This is going to be already have an account, question mark. Just log in. Font color is going to be our secondary text color, but we are going to click on rich text editor, highlight login, make it bold, and let's change the font color for the login to this one. All right. Now let's group these two together. The first two text element, right click, group them into a column container. Let's call this heading. Click on layout. Let's add a row gap of 6. Min height is going to be 0. Now let's select these three input elements, right click, group them into a column again. Let's call this group inputs. Let's add a row gap of 12. Min height is going to be 0. Now let's select the button and the link element, right click, group them into a column. Again, row gap is going to be 6, min height 0. There we go. Now I'm going to select, let's call this group as group CTA. Now I'm going to select group heading, group input, and group CTA. Right click, group elements into a column container. Let's call this group sign up. Min height is going to be 0 and row gap is going to be 24. There we go. And let's make a max width of 400 and let's center this. Click on group left and let's change the container alignment to be centered. Perfect, looks good. Now select group right, click on appearance, and the background style is going to be image, and from the asset file just upload this image, that is sign up login image. There we go, looks good. Now let's head over to our Figma file and let's see. So we have an icon over here and a text field and then one more text field. All right. So in order to get this icon, Numbable already has their own icon library, but I prefer to use hero icons. They have really amazing icon library. So I use this, but in order to use this in Bubble, we do need to add it as a plugin. So click on add plugin and let's add hero icons by Minimum Studio. Install this. And let's install one more plugin, which is going to be a multi-select drop-down. Multi-select drop-down by Bubble itself. So just install this. There we go. All right. So after installing the hero icons, you can see we have few more elements on the right-hand side. So from here, we are going to select a solid icon and let's drop it over here. Now head back to hero icon and let's search for security. Yeah, this is the one that we're going to use. Just click on solid, seal check, copy this, head back to Bubble. In this, paste it, select this, and let's change the color, which is 00FFA3. Let's make this 20 by 20. Perfect. Now let's drop a text field. This here is going to be secure private messaging. Let's copy, paste it over here. Let's make this semi bold and white. Click on layout and check fit with to content. I'm going to copy this text, select group right, paste it again. This one is going to be stay connected with your friends and family. Let's copy and paste this. This is going to be, let's go with 30 for time being. Let's see how this looks. What if we go ahead and make it 32? Let's go ahead with 34. You know what? Let's make it 32. All right. So I'm going to select the icon and the text element, right click, group them into a row container because we want them side by side. Let's call this group top right. Click on layout. Let's add a row gap of 6. Oh, sorry, a column gap of 6. Min height is going to be 0. I don't know why I keep on getting this min height as 60. Do let me know, guys, in comments if you are getting this glitch or is it just me. That's annoying. Seriously. Alright, so let's select group top right and our text element. Right click, group them into a column container with a row gap of 12. Min height is going to be 0 and padding is going to be 32 all around the edges. There we go. I'm going to select group right and we are going to change the container alignment to be bottom aligned. There we go. Looks perfect. Amazing. Now let's set up a few workflows. So we're going to sign up the user. But before that, all right, you know what? It's okay. We're going to add a workflow. So the first thing we are going to click on account, sign the user up. We already have the email is going to be input emails value, which is this thing, input email. Then we have password, which is going to be input passwords value. Now we are also capturing his name. So we're going to change another field, which is going to be name is equal to input names value. After signing up, we are going to reset the inputs. By resetting the inputs, we basically clear out the input fields. Otherwise, it stays over there. And in third step, we are going to navigate the user to our onboarding page. Now we haven't created an onboarding page, so let's create onboarding page over here. Onboarding. There we go. From here, select onboarding. And the data we're going to send is going to be current user. Now, the moment I click current user over here, we are going to have one issue over here. And the reason we are going to get this issue is because we haven't set the type of content on our onboarding page. There you go. So you can just click on this. It automatically populates the type of content for onboarding page as user. There we go. So we don't have zero issues. All right. Now, after this, let's work on this as well, the link element. Now, when user clicks on this link, I want them to be navigated to login page. Now, we haven't created a login page yet. So let's create a new page. Let's call this as login. And let's clone this from our index page because the design is similar. Hit create. Now, again, I'm going to click on our link element and the destination page is going to be login page. Now, the link destination over here are two types, internal page or external. You can send users to external URL as well. All right. We are done with this. Now let's head back to login. Let's get rid of input name and let's call this as group login. Let's change this to login. Link element over here is going to be don't have an account. Sign up, buddy. And the destination is going to be index. Perfect. Now for login, let's add the workflow. So let's get rid of all this. All right, and let's start from fresh. So an account, we're going to log the user in. We have the email. So it's going to input emails value. Password is again input passwords value. And we are going to send the user to dashboard page. So let's create a dashboard page over here. So select dashboard, and the data to be sent is going to be current user. Again, you're going to get an issue. Click on this. Bada bing, bada boom. We forgot to add one step. Reset inputs. And let's make this as step 2. And before we test this out, of course it's going to work because I'm the best no code, low code developer. Click on settings, click on general, scroll down, and let's change the progress bar color to our primary color. Now let's see. Now we have created a sign up page, login page as well. So let's first create onboarding page, and yeah, and then we can test out. So let's see how the onboarding page is. Pretty simple. All right. Whew. Let's head back to onboarding. Click on onboarding. Let's change the page title to onboarding. Layout is going to be column. Width is going to be 1440. Height, let's go with 800. All right. Now here's what I'm gonna do. I am going to drop a group over here. Let's call this group onboarding. Min width is going to be 0. Max width, let's go with 430. All right, let's center this. Change the horizontal alignment. Click on onboarding, and min height is going to be 0. And let's uncheck fit height to content because we need some room to work with. Let's see the design. All right, so we had 2 text elements. So I'm not going to create this again. I'm just going to head back to index, copy this group heading, click on onboarding, click on group onboarding, right click, paste. This is going to be welcome to blip, and then the user's name. So over here, so we can get rid of Alex Mercer. This is going to be dynamic. So we're going to insert dynamic data, which is going to be current user's name with an exclamation mark. And the subtext is going to be tell us little about yourself. I'm going to select group onboarding. Let's add a row gap of 24. All right, because I need some space to work with. And instead of 24, let's make this 20. Okay. What else do we have? So we have a picture uploader, and again we have 2 text elements. Okay, so let's first add this thing, and then later on we're going to add the other parts. So like from here, just select picture uploader, drop it in group onboarding. Size is 60 by 60. So let's click on layout. Let's make this 60 by 60. And let's change the font size to, let's make it upload avatar. Let's make this 10. Yep, looks good. All right. What else do we have? We have this element over here. So I'm just going to copy this, select group onboarding, paste it. Now this is going to be semi-bold 20. Oh, it's 24. All right, let's make this as 24. Let's change this. This is going to be personal details. And let's make this semi-bold. You know what? Let's make this 18. Update your personal details. There we go. Now let's add input field over here, which is going to be input name. No need of adding a placeholder because initial content is going to be current users name. That's why we have set the type of content on our page, that is onboarding as user. So it captures the logged in users data. Again, head back to input name. Now I don't want them to change their name. So let's see, I don't want them to change their name. And as of now, yeah, that's it. They can enter their username, they can select their list of interest, they can add something about themselves, and they can upload the picture. All right. So I want to disable this input field. Click on layout and check this box. Then width 0, height 40. Let's bring this over here. I'm going to copy this, paste this. Let's call this as group input username. Now this should not be disabled, but I want to make this as mandatory. So this input should not be empty. So I'm just going to get rid of initial content, and the placeholder is going to be enter your username. What else do we have? We have interest drop down. So over here we are going to select multi drop down. Let's call this as interest. Choose your interest. Choice style is going to be dynamic. Type of choice is going to be interest, which is our option set. Choice source or interest, and option caption is going to be current options display. Font color is going to be our primary color. Background color, let's make this as our primary color with an opacity of 10. And delete is going to be primary color as well. Border color is again going to be our primary color. Font color is going to be our text color. Looks good. Border color is going to be our border color, and let's round this is going to be 6. Click on layout and check fixed width, min width 0, height is going to be 40. Alright. And lastly, we have about me section. Now this is going to be a multi-line input. So let's call this as multi-line about me. Placeholder is going to be tell us more about yourself. Let's add a smiley. Layout and check fixed width. Min width is going to be 0. Min height is 100. That's fine. I'm okay with it. Alright, so now let's see how we have grouped elements. So first we are going to group these input elements together, and then we are going to group our image and then the input field in a row. So this is going to be column, and then this one is going to be row. So let's select this. Right click, group elements into a column container. Let's call this group inner right, and let's add a row graph of 24. 24 is fine, right? Yeah. After this, let's select these input elements, right click, group them into a column container. Let's call this group inner inputs, and let's add a spacing of 12. Min height is going to be 0. Again, for group inner right, min height is going to be 0. This is why I hate this glitch. Now let's select group inner right, select our picture uploader, right click, group them into a row container. Let's add a column gap of 24. Min height 0. And let's call this group inner container. Now let's add a button, which is going to be save. Click on layout and check this, min width 0, and height is going to be 40. Select group onboarding. Click on check this box that is fit height to content, and let's center this. Oh, oh, select onboarding and then click on center. Select group onboarding and let's change the content alignment to its original, which is going to be top line. All right. All of these fields input should not be empty. All right. Now let's work on the workflow. So we're going to click on save, click on add workflow, and we are going to make changes to a thing. The thing is going to be current user. Now let's see what else do we have. Let's click on add all fields. So we have about me. So it's going to be multi-line. Input about me's value. Avatar is going to be picture uploader. Upload avatar's value. No need of chat join. Chatting with connection request received. Interest. Let's add multi drop down interest value. Oh, sorry, it's going to be add list. No need of my connection. No need of name. No need. Oh, username. It's going to be input username value. We are going to reset the input and we are going to navigate the user to our dashboard page. Data to be sent is going to be current user. Zero issues. Now let's click on dashboard. Let's copy this as dashboard. Blip. Click on layout. This is going to be column 1440, 800 as height. There we go. Now let's see in our doc. So we are done creating our onboarding dashboard as well. Oh, yeah, still creating dashboard. So let's see what's our dashboard. It looks like. So we're going to focus on this part as of now, and later on we're going to work on all members. That's this whole group, and then my connection. All right. So let's focus on this thing. So head back to a bubble editor, and let's drop a floating group. Remember to use a floating group and not a group. And let's call this as floating group now. This is going to be column because we are stacking elements. If you see in the Figma file, this one is an element. Then we have this too. So you can see we are stacking elements. So we're going to use column. Width is going to be 80. Height is going to be 0. And uncheck fit height to content because I want this group to like flow as long as the page page height goes. And the top and the bottom is going to be 32, and on the edges it's going to be 20. All right, looks good. Above elements, top left, yeah, looks good. Now I'm gonna drop a group inside of this. I'm gonna call this as group logo. This is 40 by 40, so let's make this before that let's add a roundness of 6. Background style flat color, which is going to be our primary color. Layout is going to be column. Let's make this 40 fixed width and fixed height. Perfect. Now we're going to head back to our hero icons and we're going to search for world or something. Globe ALT. Copy this name. Drop a outline icon inside of group logo. Make sure that it's 20 by 20 so that it's visible. And let's center this as well. Paste the name. Change the color to white. Click on group logo, click on layout, and let's change content alignment to be center alignment. I'm gonna copy this same thing, paste it in floating group now. Let's call this as group or member nav. All right, click on appearance, Background color is going to be white. Icon over here, let's see. So it's search. So head over to hero icons, click for search or magnifying glass. It's magnifying glass. Copy the name, paste it over here, change the color to, what was the color? Oh, it was black. All right. I'm going to copy this, select floating group now, paste it again. Let's call this group my connections app. Icon over here is going to be users, if I'm not wrong. Let me just check. Yeah, it's users. User group. Copy the name, paste it over here. There we go. What else do we have? We have the logo as well, or the avatar. So I'm just gonna drop a image field inside floating group now, and there's going to be dynamic data, which is going to be current users, avatar, process with images. Check this box. Run mode rendering is going to be zoom. Roundness is going to be 100. Layout, let's make this 40. Fixed element aspect ratio. All right. So I also know this is how the design is, but right now in our bubble editor, everything is stacked. So we need to group few things. So the first group is going to be this group. We're going to group the nav tabs together with a width of row gap of 12. So let's select these two. Right click, group elements into a column container with a row gap of 12. Let's call this as group nav tab. Let's get rid of min height as well. Now we're going to group the logo and the nav tab. So select group nav tag, select logo as well, right click, group into a column container. Let's call this as group top. Top. Min height 0. And the width, the row gap over here is 48. But you know what? Let's make it 32. Yeah. I'm going to select floating group nav and we're going to change the container alignment from top line to space between so that it falls wide apart. All right. One more thing before we close this, we're going to check this box because I want to define a border and we are going to set border only on the right hand side of the group. Looks good. Now let's onboard Alex. All right, so click on index, click on preview. And let's get rid of debugger. So all you have to do is change true to false. Looks good. Now let's add Alex. Let's sign up. Go into onboarding. Let's upload Alex photo. Where is he? The asset file. There he is. Let's call this as Alex Mercer 07. Interest is going to be photography, travel, music. What else? Reading. I'm just going to copy this, paste it over here, click on save. So we are logged in as Alex. Perfect. And now we're going to test few things. And before that, let's work on one more thing. So I'm going to select group onboarding, copy this, head back to dashboard. Let's bring up a pop-up over here. And this is going to be pop-up edit. All right. Type of content is going to be user. No need of setting data source for time being. Click on layout, Container layout is going to be column. Let's make width as 400, min height as 550, and let's add a padding of 24 all around the edges. I'm going to select pop-up edit, right click, click on paste. All right. So we're going to change this to edit your profile. This is going to be feel free to edit your profile. We're not going to change his name. He can change his username as well. Interest, about me, everything. Instead of save, it's going to be edit. Sorry, update and save. And I'm going to copy this button. Select group onboarding, paste this, and this is going to be a logout. Style is going to be outline button. We're going to group these two buttons together into a column container. Let's call this group CTA. Click on layout with a row gap of 12. Select pop-up edit, and height is going to be 0 so that it sticks to the content. Now let's work on this workflow. So add a workflow. So nothing, we're just going to edit. So we're going to make changes to a thing which is going to be current user. Let's add all fields. About me is again going to be multi inline about me value. Picture uploader is value. No need of chat join. No need of name as well. No need of my connection. Interest add list multi drop down interest value. Username is going to be input usernames value. There we go. And after that, we are going to hide our pop-up edit. Now we do need to trigger when this pop-up edit should be visible, right? But we still need to do few stuff. So click on picture uploader, dynamic image, insert dynamic data, which is going to be current users, avatar, process with images. Check this box. There we go. Same for the username. We don't need to populate as details, right? It's going to be current users, username, interest is going to be current users, interest. Initial content for about me is going to be current users, about me. For logout, add a workflow, we are going to log the user out and we're going to navigate him to login page. There we go. Now, getting back to the original, how do we bring up the pop-up? So I want user, when they click on this image, I want them to show the pop-up edit. So let's see. Let's test this out. Looks good. Perfect. All right. Let's see now in Notion doc. We are done creating dashboard page. We have created the logout functionality as well. So we are left with all members and few workflows. Let's work on this. All right. So let's see. So we had two text elements and a search box grouped in a row. So we already worked on this. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna copy and paste. Let's copy group heading. But before that, let's drop a group over here. Let's call this as group or member. Click on layout, min width 0, min height 0, and check fit height to content. And let's add a left margin of 80 so that it doesn't overlaps with our floating group nav. Looks good. No need to add padding because we're going to add padding inside of the groups that we have. Okay. Now I'm gonna drop it. Oh, I'm just gonna get rid of this. We already had copied, so just paste this. What? Let's copy and paste again. So I'm gonna select group heading, right click, copy, select group all members, paste. Looks good now. This is going to be all members, and let's copy the subtext as well. So going to paste this. They're going to be all members. Let's add a search box, which is going to be search members. Search members. We are going to define list of options, which is going to be users, and it's going to be name. There we go. Click on layout. Let's make this 200. Height is going to be 40, and let's add a roundness of 6. I'm going to let's also add a background style, and let's make this F1 F1 F1. I'm going to select group heading and our search box, right click, group them into a row container with a column gap of 24. Container alignment is going to be space between. Min height is going to be 0. Let's call this as group heading all members. All right, and let's add a top and bottom padding of 32, and left and right is going to be 24. Click on appearance. You know what, let's make this bottom as 20. Yeah, it's okay, let's keep it at 32. That's okay. Check this box. We are gonna add a bottom border with our border color. I'm gonna select this. Instead of 32, let's make this 48. Yeah, now it looks good. For the search box, just change background border color as our border color. There we go. Looks good. Let me see how it looks over here. Looks good. Looks decent. Now it's time to work on this part. Alright, so let's first add these filters. So for adding those filters, we are going to use a repeating group. Let's call this as a repeating group. Filters. Type of content is going to be interest. Data source is going to be all interest. Now we don't need rows, so it's going to be just one row, but we do need multiple columns. So uncheck this, and instead of px is going to be 100%. Style is going to be separator. It's going to be 12 with a color of white. No need of borders. Click on layout. Min width 0. Time being, let's keep min height as 230 because we do need some room to work with. Now, in order to have a filter functionality, we're going to use custom states. So, custom state basically stores data for a temporary period of time. So, the moment you hit a hard refresh, you're going to lose that data. All right. So, I'm going to select repeating group filters. We're going to click on this eye, add a new custom state, which is going to be filter, and the state type is going to be interest. Click on create. Let's close this. Now let's add a button inside of a repeating group. Let's call this as button filter. This is going to be current cell interest display. And let's make this as outline button. Detach the style. Let's make font as 10. I think we're good. Looks good. Uncheck fixed width. Min width 0. Make it fit width to content. Min height is going to be 32. I'm going to select repeating group filter. And min height is going to be 0. And let's make it fit width to content. So it should show all the interest that we have. Looks good. Now I'm gonna drop a text over here. Let's call this clear filter, and the font color is going to be our primary color. And let's make this medium. And let's change this font size to 10. Alright. Now I'm gonna select our repeating group filter and our text. Right click, group them into a row. Let's call this group filter. Click on layout. Let's add a row cap of 12. Min height is going to be 0. Click on clear filter and let's center this as well. Now ideally I don't want this to be visible on page load, and let's check this box that is collapsed when hidden. Now this text should only be visible when the filter is active. So we're going to set the filter now. So when user clicks on the button filter, we're going to add a workflow wherein we're going to set a state. Now state is set on a page level or on a group element. Alright, so we're going to select element, which is repeating group filters, custom status filter. Value is going to be this, but current cell interest. That's it. Now I'm going to select this. Before we work on that, let's set a condition to show that this filter, like this particular interest, is active right now. Alright, so for that we are going to define a condition which is going to be when repeating group filter is not, oh no, repeating group filter plus filter is current cell interest, then the border color is going to be this one. Let me see. Oh, we don't need the border color. We just need the background color. Background color and font color. So the background color is going to be our primary color with an opacity of 10. And font color is going to be our primary color. There we go. So if I select fitness, alright, it works. Now we do need to work on clear filter to clear out this whole filter. So for it, we're going to select this. We are going to first, let's add a workflow. It's going to be similar to setting state. Let's set a state on repeating group filters. Custom state is going to be the filter that we created, and it's going to be blank because we aren't setting any value. Now in condition, we are going to use when repeating group filter is empty, then only this element is visible. So is not empty, sorry, my bad, is not empty. So if I click on photography, you can see the clear filter text. If I click this, there we go. Pretty easy, right? And cool as well. Now let's work on this repeating group. Again, this is again going to be a repeating group. So let's drop one more repeating group over here. And let's call this as all members. Click on appearance. Type of content is going to be user. Data source over here, we are going to do a search for user, and we're going to add a few constraints. So the first one, we don't want to see the current users. If I'm logged in as Alex, I don't want to see my profile. So for that, we're going to use unique ID is not equal to current users unique ID. And the second constraint we're going to add is going to be my connection doesn't contain current user. So if I send out a request to someone, all right, and if that person is already in my connection and my profile is in his connection, I don't want to see their profile or their profile card over here, all right, because it's going to be in my connection tab. That's a different tab that we're going to cover. But over here, we are only supposed to see list of people with whom I'm not connected. All right, there we go. We are going to add one more constraint, which is going to be the filter, because we do need to set the filter as well. So over here, it's going to be interested interest contains repeating group filter, and we're going to check this box that is ignore empty constraint. Make sure you check this box, because if you don't, when page loads, you won't be able to see anything. Now by default, when I go in the front end, I'm not able to see anything because we have just onboarded Alex. That's just one user. So let's close this. We do need to make few changes. So row is going to be dynamic. So again, same thing, 100%. Column, let's go ahead with 4 columns. Separator is going to be 21 with the color as white. We don't need border. Click on layout, min width 0. Let's make height as 500 because we need some room to work with. So let's see in our design, what do we have? So we have the avatar, which is 60 by 60 and 2 text elements, 14, 20, 14 again. All right. So this is one group. This is second group. All right. So let's drop a image over here. There's going to be current cell users, avatar, same thing. We had done this. Let me see if it's 60 or 40. Yeah, it's 60. Let's drop a text. This is going to be current cell users name. Let's make this 20. This is going to be bold. Center this. Click on layout and check this as well. I'm going to copy this. Paste this again. This is going to be current cell users username. What is it going to be? Instead of 14, let's make it 12 and change the font color to primary color. And let's make this regular. We have one more text field, which is going to be current cell users description. About me. Let's make this 14, medium, and our secondary text color. Now in the layout, let's give this a fixed height of 40 so that it truncates everything. Click on appearance and let's uncheck this because I don't want this to be centered vertically. I mean, center text vertically. I want it to be top lined. What else do we have? We have 2 buttons over here, connect now and request send. So let's add that as well. Connect now. 40. I'm going to copy this, paste this. This is going to be request sent. Change font color to primary color, and background is going to be our primary color with an opacity of 10. Oh, we already had set a style. My bad. My bad. All right, now let's start grouping things. So let's group these three together with a row gap of 6 into a column container with a row gap of 6 and height 0. Oh, sorry, my bad. Now we're going to group these two buttons together. Oh, before that, let's call this as user group 1, group them into a column with a row gap of 12. Now I'm going to group these two buttons together into a column container with a row gap of 6 and height 0 again for this one as well. Let's call this group user container. I'm going to select group user container and let's call this as group user CTA. So we're going to select group user CTA and group user, whatever the one that we just created, group user container. Right click, group them into a column container with a row gap of 24. And let's call this group user card. Min height is going to be 0. Let's add a padding of 24 all around the edges. Click on appearance. Let's add a roundness of 10. And let's add a border with our border color. I'm going to select repeating group all members. Click on layout. Min height is going to be 0. Perfect. There we go. Now we do need to make few changes. So I'm going to select our repeating group and I'm going to select our group filter. Right click, group them into a column container. Let's call this all member container main. I do run out of names sometimes. Even you're gonna run out of names, but it's a good habit to name group elements or other elements. Really, really beneficial. Let's add a row gap of 24 and let's add a padding of 24 all around the edges. There we go. Now I'm going to select group all members, make it fit height to content. And I'm going to add a bottom margin of 40 as well. Now I'm going to select oh shoot. All right. Before that, let me see what else is done. Everything looks good. Why do I feel like all right. Okay. Let's see how this looks. So we're not able to see anything because as I mentioned, we don't have any users. But let's work on one thing. So we're going to work on the functionality of showing and hiding our groups. So this is going to be a single page application, except the my chat part that's going to be on a different page. But this whole thing, all members and my connection is going to be on one single page. So in order to have that again, we're going to select group all member now, click on appearance, add a workflow, and we are going to navigate the user to dashboard. Data to be sent is going to be current user, and we're going to set a parameter, which is going to be v. Get rid of this. Let's call this AM, which stands for all members. All right. Now, when you're using your app, just make sure that the key and the value is complicated and unique so that no one can hack into it. Just a tip. After this, I'm going to select our group all member. Click on layout, I'm going to select collapse when hidden, click on condition, and we're going to get data from page URL. So get data from page URL, parameter is going to be v is am, which stands for all member. When this condition is true, this element is visible. I'm going to copy this expression, click on our group all member tab, and define a condition, paste the expression, and we're going to change the background color from white to F1, F1, F1. One more thing to keep in mind is going to be when we are sending the user on login and onboarding page, we do need to make few changes. So when in login, when we're navigating the user to our dashboard, we are sending a parameter to be AM. The same goes for onboarding as well. Goes to dashboard, send a parameter v is equal to AM. So if I click on this, there we go. So you can see v is equal to AM. Let's head back to our dashboard and let's work on this buttons. All right. So ideally both of these buttons are not going to be visible on page load. So let's collapse when hidden both of them. And we're going to set a condition. So now for time being, let's work on connect now, and later on let's work on request now. So for connect now, we are going to do a search for connection request, all right, wherein we're going to add the constraint, which is going to be from user is equal to current user, add a new constraint, which is going to be to user is equal to parent group user, and the status is equal to pending. When close this, count is 0, then only this element is visible. I'm going to copy this expression, click on request sent. Let me just check the layout, collapse when hidden, looks good. All right, now in the condition we're going to paste the expression, but instead of is going to be greater than 0, then only this element is visible. All right, now let's add a workflow on adding a connection. So we're going to create a new thing, which is going to be connection request. From user is going to be current user, status is going to be pending, to user is going to be parent group user. And along with this, let's see what else do we have over here. We do need to make few changes, all right. So after creating a new connection request, we are going to make changes. The first thing is going to be to the current user. Now over here, we are going to select connection request sent. We're going to add a result of step 1. We're going to add a second step again, make changes to a thing, which is going to be parent group users, connection request received. We're getting an issue. Or else, let's make this result of step 1's, result of step 1's. To user, and over here we are going to add connection request received, add current user. Let me just check this one more time. Yeah, instead of current user is going to be result of step one. Yep. So I'm gonna take a small break, and in this break, I'm gonna onboard a few more users, and we're gonna test this functionality. So I'll be back. All right, so we are back again, and as you can see, I onboarded a few members. But there's one thing that I forgot to do is add roundness to this image. So let's head back to Bubble Editor and let's select this image and let's make this 100% round. Let's see, looks good. As you can see, I'm logged in as Alex, and if I use the filters, you can see all the members that we have. Oh, I noticed one thing, this thing over here. So let's do a quick fix for this. This 14, let's make this as 30 fixed width. And let's see how this looks. 30 is like too small. Let's go with 40. Let's see how this looks. All right, perfect. Amazing. If I clear this filter, I'm able to see everyone. All right, so now let's start to connect with other members. So if you remember, we had set a workflow. So I'm just going to show you the database that we have. So all users, we don't have nothing, and the connection request is received. And in sent, we don't even have a record for all connection requests as well. So let's try adding Emma and Oliver Harper and Emma as our connection. So if I click on connect now, it should create a new connection request, and the button should change from connect now to request sent. All right, so in the back end we should have two. There we go. From user is Alex, status is pending, and two users is Olivia and Emma. If we check all users, there we go. The request, connection request received and sent as well as updated. Amazing. All right, so now let's work on all connections. Sorry, my connection. So let's work on this. So I'm gonna select all members. All members, there we go. I'm gonna right click, copy this. Let's hide this for timing. I'm gonna select dashboard, right click, paste, and let's call this as group my connections. Now we're gonna make few changes. So when user clicks on group my connection nav tab, we're gonna add a workflow. Again, we're gonna navigate the user to dashboard, data to be sent is going to be current user. Parameter over here is going to be V, and it's MC, which stands for my connection. Just click on group my connection, click on layout, and get V from page URL is MC. Then only this element is visible. I'm going to copy this expression, paste this over here in our group my connection nav tab, and we're going to change the background color to be F1, F1, F1. Perfect. Now let's see. Oh, on members. Let me check the layout over here. Oh yeah, this should not be visible on page load. Now let's refresh. So by default, the user should only be able to see all members. If I click on all connections, all right, we got the issue. I got the issue. Let's bring up group all members. Make sure you select a group all members, and let's uncheck this. Now let's try this. All right. Just let's make one small change over here. So instead of all members, let's change this to my connections. explore your connected community. All right, and now let's test this out. I know we have replicated it, so it's confusing, but there we go. We're able to see v is equal to MC my connection over here. Perfect. Now it's time to make few changes over here. So let's head over to Figma file and let's see. So we had two buttons over here, which is my connection and my requests. All right, so let's work on that as well. So when user clicks on my connection, by default, it should always show my connection. He should be able to see all the users that are in his connection. But when he clicks on my request, he should be able to see only the list of users to who have sent him the request. So in our use case, so if I log in as Emma, I should be able to see Alex request connection. So let's head back and let's start working on this. So I'm just gonna copy this button and paste this in. Let's change this to group my connection, group heading or connection, my connection. All right, let's copy this, paste this over here. I'm just gonna make this first. Let's get rid of this whole group filter. We don't need group filter over here. All right, this thing is going to be, this is going to be my connections. Let's call this button my connection. I'm going to copy this, select group my connection container, paste this. Let's make this previous and let's call this as my requests. Let's change the name as well. Let's remove all the conditions. What are the two issues that we're going to search for user? All right. So I'm going to group these two buttons together into a row container with a column gap of 12 and a row gap of 6. Min height 0. Let's call this as group my connection filter. Okay. Again, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to create a custom state on our group my connection. You know what? Instead of group my connection, let's call this as my connection filter. Let's add a custom state which is going to be view, and let's call this as text. So by default, view is going to be MC, which stands for my connection, but let's make it capitalized. Okay, MC, my connection. Perfect. So when user clicks on this button, we're gonna set a custom state, which is going to be on my connection filter view is equal to, let's get rid of this whole thing, MC. Now we're going to change the condition, which is going to be my connection filters view is MC. Then the background color and the font color. So background color is going to be primary color with an opacity of 10, and font color is going to be a selected font. Font color is going to be our primary color. Let's do the same thing for our my request. Click on appearance, add a workflow, state, element is going to be my connection, filter, custom state is going to be view, and this is going to be MR, my request. I'm just going to copy this expression, paste this for this button, but instead of MC, it's going to be MR, my request. We're going to change the font color and the background color, same thing. Perfect. Let's see how this looks by default. All right. Now I do need to work on the repeating group for my connection. It's pretty simple. So let's see the design. Ah, 100. All right. So it's pretty similar. Just we're gonna add these two text elements and then we're gonna group it with our about me section. Pretty simple. So I'm just gonna copy this. You know what? Let's copy this whole group. Select our group user card, right click, paste, and I'm just gonna delete this whole thing. Now let's drop a text. Let's call this connections. Center this, make this semi bold, gray this out, click on layout, and check fixed width. Now let's add one more text. This is going to be current cell users, my connections count. And this one over here is going to be, let's make this 18. How much is this? Yeah, let's make this 18. Center this, make this semi bold, click on layout, and check fixed width. Now I'm gonna select these two together, right click, group them into a column container with a row gap of 6. Let's call this group user 2. And height of group user 2 is going to be 0. Let's add one more text field, which is going to be about me section. Parent group users, about me. Click on, let's center this, gray this as well, make this medium. Click on layout and check fixed width. Let's make it fixed height with a height of 40. Now I'm gonna group user 2 and our text element. Before that, let me get rid of this thing and check the center to text vertically. Yep. Select our about me and group user 2, right click, group them into a column container with, my bad, with a row gap of 12. Min height 0. Group user inner. All right. So let's call this repeating group as repeating group my, or let's call this repeating group MC. All right. And let's see, we also had a few buttons over here. If I'm not wrong. Yeah, that's the one, CTA. Let's bring CTA. Let's make it last. And instead of column, let's make this as a row. And let's add a column gap of 12. So this one over here is going to be message. So let's make this a message. And this is going to be secondary button. And this one over here is going to be remove. Style is going to be outline button. Now we want them to be visible, so let's just get rid of this conditions from both of them. Click on layout, make this element visible and check collapse when hidden. Same thing for our button message. Now it's time to work on the data source for repeating group. But before that, let me just see what else do we have over here. Looks good. My connection. I mean, looks good. Why do I feel I'm missing out something? I don't know why, but it looks like I missed out something. Anyway, all right. So click on appearance. Instead of search for user, let's get rid of this. We are going to do current users, my connection. That's it. That's all. Because we just want to show all the users or members that we have in my connection list. Click on layout and we are going to hide this collapse when hidden because I don't want this to be visible because we are setting this filter buttons over here, right? So I want repeating group MC to be visible only when user clicks on my connection. So for that, I'm just going to click on this, copy this expression, click on repeating group MC, define another condition, paste the expression. When this is true, this element is visible. Otherwise, it's going to be hidden. So now let's test this out. All right, we came across an issue over here. Oh, all right. Is MC this element is visible? Oh, it's because we don't have any connection. That's why we are not able to see anyone. And I'm like, why am I not able to see anything? All right, all right. I'm going to copy this. Let's hide this repeating group. Select a group my connection. Make sure you selected group my connection over here. All right. Right click, paste. Now this over here is going to be MR, which stands for my request. Let's change this to MR as well. All right, we're gonna make few changes over here because if we check the design over here, there's just like small changes, just the button. That's it. But there is going to be a major change in the data source as well. So over here, let's change this to, let's make it accept, reject. All right. And after this, let's see how we're going to set up the database for this. So I'm going to select repeating group MR. Type of content is going to be connection request. Let's get rid of this. And we are going to do a search for connection request wherein to user is equal to current user, status is equal to pending, because we just want to see list of or the records of connection request which has pending as status, and we're going to add one more constraint which is going to be from user doesn't contain current user. All right, let's close this. And now change the database as well. Let's make this connection request. Same for this as well. Same for this group. we had an issue over here, so let's fix this as well. So this is going to be parent group connections from users, avatar process with images. Again for this, parent group connection request from users, name. This one is again going to be from users, username, connection request, parent group from users, my connections, count, parent group connection from users, about me. Let's work on the accept button workflow. So we're going to add a workflow, and over here we're going to make changes to a thing which is going to be parent group user. Why is it showing parent group user? Type of content over here is going to be connection request. Yeah. Type things to change is going to be parent group connection request. We're going to change the status, which is going to be equal to accept. Now we're going to add a few more steps to this. So the second step over here is going to be pretty easy. We're going to make changes to the current user. All right, and we are going to add the parent group user as in my connection. So my connection is going to be add parent group connection request from user. Again, step 3, make changes to a thing, and this one over here is going to be parent group connection request from user, my connection, add current user. There we go. For the reject, it's pretty simple. We are just going to make changes to a thing, parent group connection request status is equal to reject. All right, now let's do one thing. Let's go to front end. Let's see, we have sent request to Emma and Olivia. So I wanted to open an incognito mode or a new window separately on a different browser. And let's log in as Emma Lawson. All right. So here I already have the URL. Let's call this test 123. As you can see, if I click on my connection, my request, you can see Alex Mercer over here. So if I accept, I'm able to see Alex in my connection. Let's check out Alex, my connection as well. There we go. We have Emma as well. Perfect. Amazing. So let's see what do we have. So we are done creating all members section plus filters. We created members. Oh, we are yet to create members detail section. We have config connect now. We have created my connection. We have configured approve section as well. Now it's time to work on create member section detail. So let's go back to bubble editor. Let's click on design. For time being, let's hide our group my connection. All right. Now we're gonna work on this section, which is capture the detail about the members. All right. Now you could use a pop-up, but I'm gonna use something different, a new functionality, and I'm gonna animate it. All right. So over here we're gonna make use of floating group instead of a group because I want it to overlap the other groups. So let's drag and drop it. Let's call this floating group member details. This is going to be on the right hand side. Click on layout. Oh, before we click on layout, click on define each border independently. And we are going to add a border on the left hand side with a border color as our border color. Now we can go to layout, set container layout as column. Let's make this 350 pixels. Height is going to be 0. Uncheck fit height to content. Let's add a padding of 32 on top and bottom, 24. Or let's add 32 all around the edges. Alright, so the type of content in this is going to be user. Alright, now let's see what do we have in our design. So you have the profile photo, name, user ID. Okay, so this is 60 by 60. So let's go ahead and drop an image over here. Current user, oh sorry, parent group user. What is going on? Avatar, process with images. Add a roundness of 100, which we forget every time. 60. Keep element aspect ratio fixed. Let's do one more thing. I'm gonna bring up group my connection and let's bring up repeating group as well because I want this as a reference. So I'm just gonna copy this. Let's copy these two. Copy. Select floating group member, right click, paste. This is going to be left align, this one as well. Parent group username. Perfect. I'm going to group these two texts together into a column container with a layout of, let's go with 6. How big is this? It's 50, right? What if I make it 12? 56. Oh, we can work with that. I'm going to group these two together into a row. There we go with column gap of 6. Min height 0. And let's keep this as space between. Now in this group, let's call this group as group. Let's call this as group member detail 1. Right, in this group member detail 1, we are going to add an outline icon, which is going to be a close icon across X mark, and let's make this a secondary color. Width and height is going to be 20 by 20. And let's make this last over here. I'm going to select our floating group and let's add a row gap of 24. Let's see what else do we have. We have this about me section. So let's go ahead. I'm gonna cheat away. I'm gonna use a button. Let's call this about detach the style. This is going to be our primary color. Background color is going to be none. I'm going to define each and every border independently. Before that, let me just make this 0. And now let's define. Yeah, we're going to add a border, solid border at the bottom with our primary color with a width of 2. Looks good. Click on layout and check fixed width. Min width is going to be 0, and let's make this fixed width to content. Let's make min height as 40. Perfect. What else do we have? All right, so we have a text and an icon. Pretty easy. Let's drop a text over here. Let's call this parent group users, creation date, June. But I think it was member since. All right, so let's add. This is going to be a, we can use uh, dynamic data over here instead of using a text field. I don't know, I'm having an issue over here. I'm just going to refresh this again. And let's see. Ah, there it is. All right. So this one over here is going to be member since parent group user creation date format as this one. I'm just going to go with this one. Looks good. Click on layout, uncheck fix width to content. Now we're going to use a icon which is calendar. I'm just going to copy the name, drop an outline icon over here. Let's make this last. Make this 20 by 20. Let's change this calendars. Now let's group these two together into a row container. It's a column gap of 6. Let's make this first. Min height for this group is going to be 0. I'm going to copy this, select our floating group member, paste it again. This over here is going to be clock. Just copy this, paste this over here. Now over here, I'm just going to hardcode this, but you can create a new field in your user database as last login. And every time a user logs in our login page, you can update the, like, make changes to the current user stuff. It's pretty simple. So let's make this last login 9 hours ago. What else do we have? Interest. All right. Now I know this has been a pretty long lesson, but stick with me. We're going to cover a lot of stuff. Now over here we have a repeating group, so let's use a repeating group. Stop it over here. Min width 0, min height. I'm okay with the height for time being. Row is going to be 1, columns is going to be 100%. Let's make this as 12 with a white color, no need of borders. And let's drop, type of content is going to be interest. We're going to do okay, parent group users interest. Perfect. Now let's drop a button over here. This is going to be our outline button. Let's detach the style. Dynamic data is with the current cell interest. Display. Font size is going to be 12. Let's go with 12. Min width 0. Let's make it fit width to content. Height is going to be 32. Min height is for the repeating group is going to be 0. Let's call this member interest. Now let's group these two together into a column container with a row gap of 12. Min height 0. I'm just going to copy this group, paste it over here. Let's call this about me. Copy this text, paste it in this group. Let's get rid of this repeating group. This over here is going to be parent group users about me. Now let's group all of them together. But before that, let's group these two together into a column 12. Or let's make it, yeah, let's make it 12. So let's group these all together to column container, the row gap of 12. Let's change this to like 6 for all these groups instead of 12. Perfect. Now we do want to display data, bring up this floating group and close this floating group. So we're going to work on that as well. So let's bring up group my connection and let's pull up repeating group MC. So when user clicks on group user card, we're going to add a workflow. And basically we are going to animate our floating group member details. Animation is going to be transition slide right begin. So just enter slide right begin. Duration over here is going to be, let's make it 350. And we are also going to display data in floating group member detail, and the data to be displayed is going to be current cell user. Let's configure one more thing to close this. In order to use hero icons in Bubble, just check this box, make this clickable, and let's call this as outline close. Head over to workflow, click on elements, and outline icon is clicked. Select the outline icon. And again, we are going to animate our floating group member details, and OA is going to be slide right big out with a duration of 200 milliseconds. So let's test this out. Oh yeah, I forgot to do one thing. Floating group should not be visible on page load. If I click on Emma Lawson, there we go. One more thing, I'm gonna select repeating group member. Let's make it fit with the content. Instead of 350, let's make this as 450. Let's refresh this again. Let's see how this looks. We have too much space over here, so let's get rid of this. Let's make this 6. And let's center this as well. Amazing. Perfect. All right, so we are done with our last checklist that we had, create members details section. Now I know this was a long lesson, but trust me guys, stick with me. Day 2 and day 3 are going to be pretty simple, pretty easy, but we have covered a lot. I mean, I don't know how much time, but I think within like 2 hours or something, we created majority of the app. I mean, that's amazing. That's the power of low code. Anyway, guys, so I'll see you in the next in the day 2 video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you again, I want to remind you, if you want to create your own community or create your own SaaS application, head over to my website, that is Build No Code Hustle. And I keep on running discounts, so it's cost effective as well as pocket friendly. I try my best for you guys. So I'll see you over there. Thank you.